One thing I failed to announce, if you are not on our email list and you would like to be kept up to date with speakers that are coming up for coffee or workshops, please let me know or give me your business card before you leave and I will add you to our email list. With that, I am delighted to introduce our speaker and sponsor for today, Lincoln's, what's that?
Quick question.
Quick question. I was just made aware that you're actually recording these and have been for the past year.
Yes.
Could you please send out a link to all those recordings?
I will include that on our future newsletters. That's a good idea. We're on YouTube. If you just go to YouTube and Google SEC Entrepreneurship Center, you'll find our channel. But we do have recordings of all of our past coffee speakers there for the last year, so thank you for reminding me to mention that. But we're pretty easy to find out there on YouTube, but I will put a link on our newsletter. Good idea. With that, I want to introduce Lincoln's CFO on the go, Echo Bell with Bell Solutions. So, Echo, thanks for being here.
Thank you. How long do we want this?
15, 20, and then we'll do.
Okay. Oh, yes. I get quite loud, so I don't know if we're in it. And we might have to split these two up.
I don't know if we can have them in the front row. Can you hear me okay? Gonna get a little ornery over here. So, thank you for having me. As Steve said, my name is Echo Bell. I own a company called, thank you. I own a small business called Bell Solutions. We are Lincoln's CFO on the go. I am told this is supposed to be kind of informal, so I don't have a lot prepared. I thought I would share the story with kind of what led to the company that is today. Lincoln's CFO on the go. We get the, my team members are here. Ashley and Andrea introduced themselves when we were starting. This is my team is with me here today. We have the great privilege of working with a number of entrepreneurs and startups and small businesses in the Lincoln community. And what we do is we provide the benefits of a chief financial officer without the price. So what happens when we are new in business, starting up, trying to get to that next level, we have a couple of options. You can hire a bookkeeper to do data entry, or you can hire a CPA to do your tax work. But there is this amazing chief financial officer role that exists in the larger companies that it's hard to find those solutions for when you're a startup. And so how this got started, I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit in me. I just failed at it for a really long time. I believe our stories and our lives happen for a reason, and we're given the things that are supposed to happen when they are. So I attempted to do my own thing on the side for a number of years. I held a lot of accounting positions, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot. There was, through my 20s, I think my family and the people that I worked close with were really wondering what my problem was. I had a lot of different types of accounting roles and just was never fulfilled, and so I was always looking for that next challenge. When I had my first child, I took a contract position that was a little bit different than the type of accounting work I had done up until that point. And I was opened up to business strategy and business efficiency and really taking the numbers and the things that I love to do and looking at them from more of a strategic business standpoint. And the passion and everything I had been trying to do all those years came to light. And when I finished with that contract and got my baby up to where I was ready to go back to work, I was no longer looking for accounting positions and really was seeking out that higher role. And so in 2007, I took my first chief financial officer role with a construction company. My stepdad had always owned construction companies, ran a D7 dozer for him for a while, laid a lot of concrete, these types of things. And so construction was a very natural world for me, and so it was a great start in that role. And I learned very quickly that the CFO role was another beast that didn't really exist in the accounting roles that I had had up until that point. And all of a sudden, I didn't need to know how to do accounting. I had to know accounting, but I had to understand process and strategy and leadership and product development and market research. And all of these things were a requirement now to hold this higher level of financial role that I was in. And I became hungry, and I loved it. And I was finally challenged in my career. Had another kid, and the construction world doesn't like the baby thing, and so I had moved to, it's a man's world, and that's the truth of it there. But I moved to, I got to take the chief financial officer role for a veterinary pharmaceutical manufacturing company. I ended up spending 5 years there and ended up serving as their director of operations. And I took that love in this new world that I learned, and had huge lessons in how to run, open, and expand business. That company sold, the owners split up, and I immediately took another CFO position, because that's what we're supposed to do, right, when we have families, and it's a safe road. I got into the role, and I told my husband when I got home, this isn't gonna last very long. I had found a hunger and a love, and about 8 months into that position, I had to make a choice between my career and my ethics. And so I turned my back. I left my high dollar, comfy career and became a full-time entrepreneur. I happen to be married to the most amazing man on the planet, and so I had a lot of support and success in my corner to help me make it happen. I picked up the phone and I called out to some of the people that I had done freelance work and side work for in the past, and the rest is history. What I found very quickly, my love for entrepreneurship, I know now all those jobs that I couldn't hold was because I was meant to be an entrepreneur. I got deep-seated into the entrepreneur community here in Lincoln, which is amazing, by the way. There are so many fantastic ideas and talent, and this community itself is embracing it, and they're building buildings and concepts and groups and all kinds of things to ensure the growth of these entrepreneurs. And so I started working with all kinds of wonderful people and found out very quickly that this love, this role that I was able to go make huge impacts with these organizations doesn't exist for the person trying to make it happen for themselves. You can hire an accountant, they do transactions for you. There's nothing wrong with the CPA sitting here, right? We gotta have these things, but the CFO role is not an accounting role. It is this powerful position that allows companies to get to that next level. And so CFO on the Go was born. It had a nice ring to it, kind of was fun, and tested out the market, and our company organically went, and we've been listening to the market ever since. And the thing that I've learned that I think I want to pass on here today, 2 things. In my journey, passion is everything. This is coming from a numbers person, but what I learned in all of the 6 failures and different things that I went through, if you don't love what you're doing, get up tomorrow and go do something else. All right, that is the secret sauce, I think, to entrepreneurship. But the other key thing that I've learned is that whether you're a $25 million business or you're pushing $5,000 out of your basement, you need to understand your numbers. There's power in understanding them, and if you know what they mean, they will tell you a story, and they will tell you how to make more money. And the scary thing is it's scary, right? What is a balance sheet? What is all these things? You're supposed to do all these things for the IRS and the government and all these requirements. And yes, that is the fundamental point of our accounting, right? We have to track our sales. We have to track these things because the government requires it. But what I challenge my entrepreneurs to, and the question I want to ask today is, are you using the F word correctly? Right? I work with a lot of people that you bring up the word financials in your financial management, and there's a lot of different definitions of what that means. But so rarely is it what we need to be looking at. You want me to keep going? All right, okay. So I thought I would. Yes, please.
Where did you get your education to begin those initial jobs?
School of Hard Knocks. No, that's definitely part of it. I went to a community college in Columbus, Nebraska. Went to high school in David City. Don't tell too many people, and if we can scratch that from the video, no. I went to school for business. While I was there, I did some welding, learned how to read blueprints. Much like my career, I was always looking for something else, and so I took my first job with my dad owned a construction company, and I was his accounts payable and payroll. got to work very closely with the CPA there. And that was probably the most educational part of launching of where I went to, was being able, school is great, right? We got to have our classes and our degrees, but there is a real world piece to it that once I was able to sit down and really work with the CPAs, I think was where my best education came from.
And when did you first hire your employees?
Well, Ashley is my sister-in-law. When I thought I knew what I was doing way back then, we used to sit around at Christmas and plan out this business in the carpet. And then, we failed and did all these bookkeeping and all these silly things. And so Ashley's been with me since the dawn. I met my husband when I was 11, so she would have been maybe nine-ish. But in 2008 really is when this turned around, and so she's been kind of working with me since then. Ashley is now taking a much more active role this year with the group. Andrea's only been with us a few months. She's stepping in. What I'm learning, the more I'm an entrepreneur, I learn how much you need to recognize what you're not good at. And so I have a lot of things going, and I struggle to get back to my communications. And so Andrea has joined the team and is going to try to keep me in line and keep us communicating on a level that is good for our clients. So I've had a couple of CFOs come and go, trying to find the right fit. The thing about what we do is we are not your typical service. To just be an accountant doesn't really work for the type of work we do. So it's finding individuals on this team that not only have the bookkeeping, but understand business and entrepreneurship and leadership and process and all of the things beyond just accounting. So that's kind of what's led to the change here. Yes, sir.
As you built your business and worked with startup companies in particular, and a lot of them are probably using online accounting
Yes.
software
Yep.
that they may get for free and that sort of thing. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see that
Oh my gosh.
entrepreneurs make when handling or doing their own accounting?
Their own accounting. That's such a great question. I have some really great examples. I could write a book that would tell you what not to do in a lot of cases. I think there are two things that need to be looked at. First of all, what is your strategy? I meet with a lot of entrepreneurs and I say, how are you structured? They say, I'm an LLC. Okay, well, how are you taxed? Well, I'm an LLC. The understanding that how you are going to be taxed and how your company will be on that federal level, right? An LLC is how you are with the state, has everything to do with planning your numbers, right? So I think the step one that we get into it, what is that plan? How are you going to pay yourself under what umbrella? So understanding your business structures and where you should be is key. And I think people don't think about that in the beginning. And I see this year's a great example. I have a ton of people who owe a lot of money in taxes because they were a sole proprietor, accidentally made a couple $100,000. Right? Had you been structured differently, you'd have a third or half of your tax debt. So I think understanding where you're going, what your revenues are going to be, and that comes in financial planning, right? Having an idea of what it looks like, even if it's a rough start. So I think that's key number one. And the second thing, and you hit on it, this is such a big piece for us, we are QuickBooks Pro Advisors, so we do most of our stuff through QuickBooks. But I'll use the word crap instead of my normal crap, from crap is crap. And if you don't track your data, and you don't put it in accurately, have a system that's going to put it where it needs to be, you're not going to get the information you need to do what you need with it. A couple of things happen. I see a lot of people misusing online or computerized software. When you don't know how to process your sales, we pay more in income tax and more in sales tax than we need to. This happens all the time. People will enter invoices, but then they also enter a deposit, and they don't realize that the two need to go together. Now you don't have $100 sale, you have $200 worth of sales. And when we don't understand our financials, and at the end of the year we just print this, we don't realize it, but we're paying more. I see a lot of people pay a lot more in sales tax than they need to. By the time they've got to me, they've paid months of it, and then we clean up their records and realize they didn't actually have that much in sales. So consistent data that you can be confident in has everything to do with your numbers. QuickBooks is a great solution for it. There are a lot of good accounting solutions out there, but the thing about them, QuickBooks is notorious for it. You see their ads? Just plug and play, right? Bring up the screen and start entering. Well, excellent. Now when you go to your CPA, you're not just going to pay for your taxes. You're going to pay thousands of dollars because somebody has to go fix all the data. right? So even in your most basic programs, set up your chart of accounts, understand how you're set up. What is your income, what is your out? The thing I really work a lot and tirelessly with my entrepreneurs on is, and this is that difference between the accountant and the CFO. You have to have your numbers for tax purposes. All right, so your P&L shows you your money in and your money out. Right? You have to have those things to file your taxes. But so many people, your bottom line, maybe you're making money, but if you break down your sales and your costs and you understand what's coming in and going out on more of a level that relates to your process and your products, you can start to see you might be making money on the bottom line, but maybe you're losing your tail on two of them. Right? And so we don't understand financials, and so we look from this 10,000 foot view and we're lied to with our numbers. We don't understand, oh, well, there's money in the bank and there's a positive there. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Right? Right? Amy's one of my clients, we're starting to identify this, and there's so much excitement and fun in it. When you can break down and understand how to make more money, drop the things that don't make you money. There's this thing called loss leaders, and occasionally, yes, you have to have a product that you don't make money on so you don't lose clients. That's a pretty rare case, right? If it costs you twice as much to do one product as another, maybe we need to look at a new product. So the thing I really love to work with, yes, we need to get it in order and we need to get it accurate for all the things we're required to from the government. But now let's break it down. What are you making money coming in on? Where is your money going out? I would say one of the key things to understand on your numbers, your profit and loss is one of your key financial pieces to know and understand. But the money going out in your company can be split into two categories. Anybody here watch Shark Tank? Know your numbers. If you go in there and you don't know your profit margins, they're going to eat you up, spit you out. Couldn't agree more. So, not just money going out, but there's two kinds of money going out. You got your cost of goods sold and you've got your overhead expenses. When you sell more, your cost of goods sold go up. When you sell less or need less, your cost of sales go down, right? So these two go like this. Your overhead doesn't change, right? And so starting to look at your numbers for what they are, how they apply to your process, and how they apply to your business, right? And that's where you start to get the answers that tell you how to make more money. I just had a meeting with a client of mine, and the numbers are kind of overwhelming, and so I put this in graph form. I showed Ashley here, and while I see stories in the numbers, you put it in a graph, and it tells you exactly where the problem is and what's going on. But that is all dependent on the right structure and good data. Because if you're making decisions on poor data, then now, right, going down the wrong path. Yes, sir.
Two questions.
Yes, sir.
One is, who are your clients in the realm of what do they do?
Okay.
And the second question is, how often do you meet with them?
So our clientele, I've stopped working with the bigger guys. Construction is one of my loves, the higher end job costing. So construction and manufacturing I know really well. We work with a ton of professional services. The main groups we don't work with, I don't really do retail. We don't have a lot of retail clients. But we have become very diverse. We have a huge market in the auto world, independent auto dealers right now. And a ton of, we're finding with the entrepreneur community, there's a lot of professional services. People are looking into themselves, finding their own skills and turning them into a business. So much of our clientele is that. We meet with our clients, a minimum, at the bare minimum, we have quarterly meetings with all of our clients. No matter what you buy with us, if you're going to use our CFO services, every 3 months we sit down and we look at the story. We say, okay, at this time of year, you're growing here, maybe we need to do this. End of the year, you would have 3 months for you to do this to reduce your taxes. It's a constant monitoring and communication strategy planning with the entrepreneurs. I have some who want to meet monthly. We do have definitely more frequent, weekly, monthly, but those are our larger clientele. For the most part, it's quarterly.
Third question?
Yes, sir.
Do you charge hourly or what?
No, it depends on what you want in your volumes, but we, at our most basic level, we have a quarterly package, so for $3.99 a quarter. It's kind of the overview one, and then we have other clientele who were there weekly doing much larger volume that may be on more of a monthly, but we don't do hourly really. We have what's called a quick tune. It's now being called a quick start. It got called a quick tune for many years, and I don't know, it just kind of stuck. But one of our most loved and adored and requested products is our Quick Tune launch. So we'll get you set up, understand your business, how you should be running, set it all up behind the scenes so that it shows you what we were talking about, where you're making money. We train you on how to use it, and then that comes with 30 days support. That's $249, and that's probably one of our most popular products that we have, getting yourself on track. That's the thing, so many of you are capable of it. It's there. We just need the foundation and a little bit of education and knowledge to do it ourselves, right? Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. You teach people how to do QuickBooks, or do you do it for them?
Absolutely, both.
You do it both, okay.
Depends. I have some people who say,
And then you could do their taxes too?
yes, so we have, okay, so two-part question. Glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I have a lot of clients who say, I want to do it, but I'm afraid. So we might work with somebody a few months until they're confident and educated to take that piece over and then continue on the quarterly high end. I have some people say, I hate bookkeeping. Don't ever talk to me about bookkeeping. We have a great little solution for those people. They send us their receipts as they're going along in their life. It comes into a fancy system, and it's entered into our systems within so many hours. So you have real-time data in your own system. So it varies. We do a lot of trainings. In terms of taxes, I understand taxes. It's not a passion of mine. I happen to have somebody on my team who loves it. So we tested out this last year on a handful of clients the concept of planning for your taxes all year. So we're working with you anyway, but really putting to the test the thought process that we're going to file your taxes at the end of the year. And what happened is, come the end of the year, everything was ready. You didn't have to come see me, and you didn't have a bill because it was part of the annual piece. Yeah, and it was very well received. So starting next week, and actually there's invites for everybody up at the table and a little bit of information. But starting now, we are launching to where we will do taxes as of this next tax season for our clientele that want to get in on that. So we're very excited to launch it, and I'm very thrilled with the test run that we did, and I think the efficiency and what we're able to offer from that level is kind of fun. So, yes, sir.
So why are you not writing a book?
Why?
Well, you like challenges.
I can't even get through my day. No,
Because
I don't know. I could, we could write a book of what not to do. There's so many great examples. I don't know. We have a writer here, don't we? A storyteller? Maybe we should work on that.
Well, I like a challenge, and
I
it
do.
reminds me kind of like the Dave Ramsey that, okay,
Yes.
this is what you should be doing, this is what you really should not be doing.
Yes.
And giving examples. I mean, that's readable material.
Got that? Okay. That's our next assignment. I love it. We do a lot of classes and education. We have a QuickBooks, Make QuickBooks Work for You class. We also are using your F word correctly, financials, to try to educate people. But hey, maybe we need to take it to the next level.
Echo,
That's my notes. Yes.
I think you have, there's a lot of appeal to what you offer, because most of us, as we got started, we had our passion and we had our career off here,
Yep.
That was tied to our product or service and that sort of thing. And when asked by our accountant or by anybody, the questions that are asked,
Yep.
it's, I don't know. And so then you weed into it, and then you get caught in the
Yeah.
hole. And then you feel like you're begging people to do
Sure.
your taxes, or
Right.
just keeping out
Well,
of trouble.
and we postpone it because it's not fun.
Yeah.
Um,
And so and the same way with QuickBooks, I found somebody who could enter into QuickBooks, but then she moved on. And eventually I had to learn to do it myself, and so I was doing it her way. When I got a 10-hour consultation through Reed, by the way.
Yes, I work with. I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to do some classes with them.
That just saved me, because she went through and said, why is it set up that you need to switch this? And I was at the point where I was gonna go to SEC, but they wanted for those classes, to start you from the beginning.
Sure.
And I was already
Right.
8 years into my business, so I think offering that kind of consultation, not the beginning.
Right.
But
Absolutely. Most people that come are already there. Nobody has ever come to me and said, I have all of my stuff in a line. Like everything is tip top. People usually come with a huge mess, and you nailed it on the head. We start business because we're good at a passion, right? Most of my construction workers, they were good at a trade and they turned it into a business.
Yeah.
Nowhere in that transition is accounting and business and product launch, right? All of that stuff. So,
And you're also the CFO, the
yep,
CEO, the
yep, and the janitor. And what I think the other piece to that is we feel embarrassed.
That's what you got shot for.
And we feel scared, and we feel like we're out on an island all alone because we're typically a lot of times a one-man show. And the truth is, it doesn't have to be so scary. And any situation that you're in, 100 other people have been in. And there is a way to get out, and it's by educating yourself and getting to know your numbers. It's a hard, scary part, but I've also found it to be one of the most rewarding pieces of this, because when you take somebody who is petrified and doesn't know where to go and afraid to ask these questions, and we work with them, it changes marriages, it changes lives, it changes your health. You lose a lot of sleep, which really starts to affect you, especially if you're trying to run business and a life and all of these things. It can really affect a person. I went through the struggles myself, the growing pains myself, and I know how it can be. So that's the other thing we try to differentiate ourselves from accountants. I say a lot of times, I'm friendly to be a call accountant, and it's kind of a joke. But that's the point to that, is I don't want to just be numbers. Yes, we have to have the numbers to get to the solutions, but we are a partner. We're in this together, and we know what it feels like to be out on that island, right? And so if you're not at a point where you can hire a $100,000 CFO role, right?
You got it.
Right? But that's what we do, is we give that option now. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes.
Now I'm making on Excel
Yes.
for myself.
Okay.
But my business is very simple.
Okay.
But in the future, I'm using a QuickBooks
Okay.
or something
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
So, how many sales month?
Mhm. To track it?
Yeah.
One.
Just track it.
No.
But how many sales?
Mhm.
What do you think a month is 30 or 40? What?
Before you get into QuickBooks?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's so much about a transactional number. If you're going to do business, I think immediately, even if you're a sole proprietor and it's all one, you get a separate bank account and you see everything differently.
Yeah, of course. I
Right.
did. But I got a question about which is the change point to
Mhm. To go from Excel to QuickBooks?
to
Again, I say one sale. And maybe that's being too simplistic, but they have, for example, QuickBooks has a self-employed version. It's $4 a month. And the beauty of that, it's one of the only QuickBooks products. You can take a photo of a receipt, it enters the name, the amount, the date, everything. You literally have to do nothing. But it's a mileage tracker on its own. So there's a lot of little things that we don't think about when we're trying to get things going. So for $4 a month, for less than $60 a year, even if you only made 4 sales all year, right? It's a place to start tracking that and understanding it. Because here's my question. If you're in your basement, let's say you're only making that many. Now it comes the end of the year, how are you going to decide if you should go to that next level or not? So even at the most basic level, I think we can look at our numbers to help you decide where you should be going with your business or not be going with your business. I don't have anything against Excel, but as you grow, it will become cumbersome, right? It doesn't have the accounting piece behind the scenes to create the things that you need. If you're going to go get financing, grow your business, you have to have certain pieces of documentation for a bank, for your family. If you're going to go ask mom for money, let's make sure you can pay mom back, right? So even for your own knowledge, and this goes back to that sleep health thing. When we can get it out and show you where we're going, even if it's only 6 months at a time, you can get up every day and focus on what you need to do to go sell your business. Not worry about money and the bills and all these things, because we have a plan in place, right?
And Excel doesn't get it. The accountants don't like it.
Yeah.
They translate it
Yeah.
back into QuickBooks, and so you spend more money
Yeah.
with your accountant or whatever.
Absolutely.
And you still don't have anything the bank respects.
Right.
Excel doesn't make anything the bank respects.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And QuickBooks now has the ability to be so much more than just a bookkeeping system. Yes, it is for accounting, but we make it do some really great things. I write a lot of estimating systems for construction companies. It has the ability to manage your business in other ways. So if you're going to spend the money, find a software that does more than just each of those pieces. Right? Yes?
The quick is the these days, is the best system or
For small business, I do think it is. I'm not a fan of Peachtree. I've implemented very large ERP systems, CRM systems. I'm a software junkie. But in terms of QuickBooks Online has historically been a horrible product. And 18 months ago, I would not have recommended it to anybody. Today, 99% of our clientele are on it. It has opened itself up to today's world. It's cloud-based, it offers a lot of efficiencies, and does a lot of things that allows us to look like a bigger company than we really are. It's got automation and the ability to move money in a way that the larger companies can. And from a CFO standpoint, from what we do, you can manage and run it, and if you get hung up, you pick up the phone and we're in the same screen with you, and you can be on with your life in a couple of seconds. Right? Yes, sir?
One more question.
One more, Joe.
Can it be used as a contact management system?
Absolutely. We do a lot of nonprofits, and I have turned it into donor communication systems for a couple of nonprofits in town, and it works really well. I've historically done it with desktop, but we've done 2 this year for online, and it works as a great communication tool. You can send out an email or a communication, and it tracks it. It can show that they opened it, and you can have that communication back and forth. It tracks in-kind donations really well, and it tracks communication marketing really well. It's just setting it up in a different way, thinking of it a little differently. So yes.
All right.
That wasn't so horrible. I didn't throw up.
Thank you very much. As a thank you, we'd like to give you a Focus Sweet mug.
Yay, I love coffee.
And thank you, Lincoln CFO on the go.
That's right.
We have, we're leaving more time at the end of our coffees now for networking, so please don't feel like you need to run off now. So please hang around as long as you like, meet one another, exchange business cards, ask Echo more questions or her team. But we appreciate you being here this week, and we hope you'll come back next week for Lone Tree Foods. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you so much.
None like